Blue Lock is not like most sports anime in that there is no sense of teamwork. The Blue Lock facility is a house full of a bunch of ego-driven soccer stars. Everybody is here for a reason, whether it be a specific ability only they own or a brilliant mind they possess on the field. And this brings us to Isagi Yoichi, who I believe right now, more than anything, is the heart of Blue Lock. First, I want to say if you enjoyed the content, then I would appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel, as I'll be posting videos every few days on different topics that you guys recommend me and a few of my own. Now let's get into the video. Isagi isn't like most main characters. We see towards the beginning of the story that he's actually not a standout person. Most of the stars in Blue Lock are these side characters. We also know that all of these side characters have their own specific weapon. For example, we get introduced to Chigiri, whose weapon is his amazing speed. Then we get introduced to Bachara, whose weapon is his amazing ball control and how smooth he is when dribbling. Then we get introduced to Nagi and his amazing ability to trap the ball and score magnificent goals. Then we know Baro, who uses his amazing strength to move through defenders and score amazing goals with powerful kicks. Even Kunigami, who before the wild card had an amazing left kick from outside of the box. Everybody has their specific weapon, and for Isagi, we didn't really know what it was for a long time. We saw little flashes and glints of hope towards the beginning of the story, but nothing really solid until later on. Plus, Isagi wasn't really gifted with a nice physical body. For example, Nagi is 6'2", and as you can tell, other characters like Baro, Rin, Shidori Yusei, and Kunigami, they all are about this type of height, about 6 foot tall. They also have amazing physical abilities. The few characters we see who are about Isagi's size are like Reo, Bachara, and Isagi himself. But as for Reo, he has a chameleon ability to where he can copy other people. And as for Bachara, he has amazing ball control. But for Isagi, we didn't really know what he could do. The first time we saw Isagi really step up to the plate for the first time was in the Blue Lock facility match with Baro on his team, where he, as in his own words, said he devoured Baro. This is no small feat, as Baro was known as the king of Blue Lock. Baro was one of the best strikers in the facility, who was able to work his way through defenders with amazing strength and score miraculous goals. We also know that Baro did not want to pass the ball to anyone, even if it meant losing. And in the final second of the match with Isagi on his team, he passed the ball to Isagi. And this makes you wonder, why did he do this? Well, we know why now, and that is Isagi's amazing playmaking abilities. Isagi is able to see the field in a different way than anybody else can. He can tell where a play is developing and where it will end before anybody else on the field can do so. This is why Nagi also wanted to be on Isagi's team, even though Isagi himself didn't even know the true potential he held. This is because Nagi was able to see Isagi's potential before anyone else. The moment Isagi really blooms is in the U20 match, but I'll get into that a little bit later. First, I want to give an example of what Isagi would be like in a real life scenario. If you watch actual soccer, then Isagi would be somebody like a Lionel Messi. He's an attacking midfielder who can see the field from a different point of view and make plays. Messi's job isn't really to be the main striker and score all of the goals, even though he does end up scoring goals himself. But Messi's main job is making a play, starting a play that can then lead to a goal. If you look at characters like Rin or Kunigami or Baro, they're all players that are more like Cristiano Ronaldo. And Cristiano Ronaldo's job is to be a pure striker. He is not meant to make the plays. He is more made to finish the plays. And that brings me to a theory that Blue Lock people have made, and I sort of agree with. And that is that Igo Jinpachi's goal was not to create the best striker, but more so to create the best team. And I mean it like this. We know that Rin, Baro, and Shidori Yusei are probably the best three pure strikers. Now, when I say this, I'm talking about pure kicking ability. They're able to make goals from far away and able to shoot with extreme power. Now, if you look at somebody like Isagi or Bachara, they are better in the midfield. They're able to dribble up the field and make plays, make great passes to teammates, and open shots. And if you look at somebody like Gagamaru, he initially went to Blue Lock to be a striker. Then he ended up as a great goalkeeper, and it looks like he honestly will be one of the greatest goalkeepers in the world, as he has amazing synapses and reflexes that allow him to save goals that nobody thought was possible. Now, as for whether this theory is true or not, that is to be answered, although I really think it is. But in order to really grasp how great Isagi is currently, let's get into the U20 match. At the beginning of the match, we sort of see Isagi cuck down to Sei. He says that Sei is the leader in this match, and he is true. Isagi was sort of able to keep up with a play, but was too slow to do anything about it, and this is what really blooms Isagi's abilities. Now we do see that there are multiple plays after this that Isagi can see, but he also can't do anything about. But towards the latter half of the match, he really begins to shine. We see Isagi begin a play, but before he can attack, Aiku steps in and stops him from scoring. We see as the Blue Lock team begins to lose the match, Isagi goes over to Ego and asks for a way to win. After Ego says that it is possible that they might not win, Isagi goes into a sort of flow state and says that this is the Ego that he taught them and that he really wants to win the match. Now this is when Isagi begins to really heat up. We see Isagi in a bunch of different plays, even though he isn't the star in these plays, but the moment that really it comes down to is when Rin and his brother Sei begin to go back and forth, and this is in the final minute of the match. You can see when we get this panel of the score being 3-3, Isagi's puzzle pieces begin to show up, and we really see his true flow state appear. Now we see Rin and Sei get into a battle in the midfield and kick the ball into the air. Now we see Isagi position himself to where when the ball lands, Isagi kicks a miraculous kick and scores the game-winning goal for the Blue Lock facility. In a post-game interview, Isagi says that he is the person who will lead the U20 Japan team to win the World Cup. Now this match alone was not the super shining Isagi that I am talking about. That comes a little bit later. But the most important takeaways from this match is that he was able to see plays long before they were happening. He just wasn't able to fully commit and finish these plays at this point yet. But that is what he develops into later. But even then, scoring the game-winning goal was still a great breakout play for him, and it got a bunch of people's eyes in Japan looking on him. You see, when you read Blue Lock, you get this sense of what they mean by ego and what it means to devour another person. For example, Baro's way of devouring somebody or devouring a team is just breaking them down with his strength and skills and scoring all of the goals, winning the match. If you look at somebody like Rin, he uses all of his skills as well to score miraculous goals, win the match, and he therefore devoured you. If you look at somebody like Bachara, he will dribble, break your ankles, and therefore devour you. But if you look at somebody like Isagi, he doesn't have the conventional way of quote-unquote devouring someone. He more so wants to win the match, whether it means that he scores the goal or his teammate does. And that is what we see when he teams up with Kunigami. But Kunigami says that that is not something a striker should do and that Isagi should be ashamed. But that does not really matter to Isagi because that is not Isagi's style of play. Isagi is not a fully ego person like we look at other strikers in Blue Lock. Isagi's form of ego is making a play and winning the match, and that means involving all of the teammates that he has. One of Isagi's best traits is his ability to cross the ball. He can make far passes in order for his strikers to score and finish. Isagi is not really worried about being the main person and that he scores all of the goals. Isagi wants to be the X factor to a team. Isagi wants to be the person on the field who is the heart of the match. When we look at recent chapters, we see that Noel Noah wants to pick Isagi by his side more than anyone else. This is because Noel sees Isagi's amazing ability to read the field and make plays, something that other people can't really see yet. The main person before Noel who was able to see Isagi's ability was Sei. Sei says that Isagi has the potential to change Japanese soccer forever. You see, one thing I really want to recover is Isagi's ability combined with his physical body. Isagi probably will end up being one of the best midfielders in the world. And to be honest, that's not a bad end for Isagi. Being one of the greatest in the world is his goal anyways. His ability to see the field and the end of plays before they even happen is truly one of a kind, and his ability to pass the ball is also top tier. Also want to stick the nail in the head of how crazy it is that Isagi's ego is team oriented. It may not seem this way at the start, but when you look at what he does when he's in his flow state with the ball, he just wants to use the different pieces of his team in order to build up a play and score a goal. If you imagine a Blue Lock team as a car, Isagi would be the engine. He is what gets the car going. And for these reasons, I believe that Isagi Yoichi is the heart of Blue Lock. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, I would appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel, as I'll be posting videos every few days on different topics that you guys recommend me and a few of my own. If you like the examples I gave for the strikers, like Isagi being a Messi type, Bachara being like a Neymar, and Rin being like a Ronaldo, then let me know. Also, if you think there are better comparisons for these players than the ones I gave, let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys. See you next time.